Alright, so what is on, guys? This is Faye back here as usual. So in today's video, okay, first of all, it's Genshin related topic. Alright, so for those people who are not looking forward to Genshin related topics, you can just technically just close this video and leave it. Alright. Okay, so in this video, I will not be doing Abyss Clear. I'll not be doing banner recommendations, but in this video, I'll be talking more about like actual ways to actually fix your account or to build necessary characters that can actually help you to be more comfortable in your game, and as well as when you are progressing through your whole Genshin career. All right. So Genshin version 3.0 has just landed with a huge ton of events and also like new banners and new stuff. Alright, but in today's video, I'll be doing something not related to version 3.8, which is actually talking about characters who you can actually build on your account. Alright, so Genshin have a wide variety of characters and also a wide variety of variations. Right. So there are 4-star and 5-star units, as everyone knew. Alright, there's no 3-star units, but there's 3-star weapons. Okay. So first of all, on my list, alright, we mostly will be talking about 4 stars because in this game, 4-star supports are actually more crucial and more important than 5-star units. I mean, yes, 5-star units does have a huge impact on your account, but the fact is not everyone actually have like uh not everyone actually have a 5-star unit for some occasions. Like for example, if you watch my previous video, I use Alhaitham with Nahida, alright, and maybe like Ayato C1 with R1, alright. So normally it's free to play players that probably can't get all this unless they're really, really lucky. Like you get two Atos in one tempo, which is actually insane, right? But the chances are like very, very minimal, right? So today I'm going to talk about more to 4 stars, right? So 4 stars you need that you should that I recommend you to build. Okay, if you had them, right? So first of all on my list we have Bennett. Right. So Bennett is one of the best 4-star units, as I should say, for as a support unit. Right. So what makes him actually insane is his capability to actually provide essential healing and also debuff remove. Alright. He can technically do a lot of things like he can increase like your teammate's attack, alright, and heals your teammate, and he can technically also be a pyro battery. Right. So what's good about him is his elemental burst. All right, straight to the point. His elemental burst, despite having a like mid scaling for his skill damage, all right, what makes it like so good is actually the continuous regeneration per second. So every second, this thing heals 12.75% max HP plus 1,588 of Bennett's own HP. Right. So 12% of max HP technically just means if you have 10,000, you technically just yeah yeah. If you have 10,000 HP, you're probably like yeah, you probably have like 1,000 healing or something. Yeah. So if you stack purely HP on him and healing bonus, his elemental burst will like, provide a ton of healing. Yeah. Technically, he is able to heal like a truck. Right. Next thing is attack bonus ratio. Alright. So this is why I say he can actually buff his team by using his elemental burst. So whoever stands within the field during the 12-second duration, they will receive the attack bonus ratio according to Bennett's base attack. Right. For those who don't know what base attack is, alright, you can have a look at the details here. So base attack is the white stats here instead of the green stats. So you can exclude green stats and the white stats is technically your base, right? So for base attack, it can only be affected by two situations. First of all, your character ascension, alright, and level up, which are technically max here. And secondly, it can be affected by weapon. Right. So a high weapon, high base attack weapons also provide high attack bonus ratio. Right. So it's up to personal preferences to like rather like go for the attack bonus buff for the duration, or you can build him as a healer, or you can build hybrid. Right. So the duration is 12 seconds, so you can imagine that he can actually heal like a truck, like an actual truck. That is so insane. That is like crazy heals. Yes. And he also removes cryo debuffs if your character is like inflicted by cryo, which is a pretty annoying thing, especially for Yoimiya characters or Hu Tao mains, right? You'll probably get really triggered when you are applied by cryo, as I know it heavily affects like your charge attack sequence or normal attack sequence, right? So yeah, having a Bennett is technically like an all-rounder, a jack of all trades, and he's like so like very very good in almost everything. All right, and the energy cost is not too high either. The energy cost is actually like 60, which is acceptable if you stack a ton of ER with him. Right, and the cooldown is also like very short. There's only an actual 3 second cooldown. Right, so his constellations, there are also like not high requirements. All right, so if you have a C1, it's actually more than enough. All right, of course C2 makes everything works, but if you have a C1, it's also very very good. C0 is also usable, but just slightly having a bit of like delay buff if your HP cap isn't hit by 70%. Right, for artifacts, there is only like 4 piece no bleach or blue or black whatsoever. Right, for me, as you can see, I'm running a healer build here. So I'll be running healing bonus. All right, why do I give out? Why do I give healing bonus, not HP? All right, because I want him to heal more instead of like building him as a tank. All right, so I'll be giving healing bonus with HP substats. All right, HP percents goblet. Right, ER sense. I want him to like have some ER. Okay, and feather and flower just seems normal. For weapons, I run the Fobonius sword. Alright, even if my crit rate is like yeah, my crit rate is yeah. So even though my crit is yeah, so but the benefit about Fobonius sword is the high amounts of ER along with base attack. And not to mention that it kinda alright, it kinda aesthetically fit. Alright, it kinda aesthetically fit on him. I mean, sacrificial sword also works, but if for 1 year side you proc the passive, you can technically make him like generate more particles and have a team cycle even better. Right. So next we have Xingqiu. Right. So Xingqiu is one of the best hydro units, I would say. All right. He's still on demand even after the 5 star unit Yelan is actually released, but I didn't pull for Yelan. All right. For personal reasons, I don't want to pull Yelan. All right. So therefore, I am still a Xingqiu user up to now, version 3.8. Right. So initially, when I started this game, I actually don't know like how good Xingqiu actually is. So until I actually like understand him and like studied him, so I found out that he is actually a quite broken character. Right. So for Xingqiu, what is so good about him is the fact that he can be a sub DPS and an off field hydro applier. Right. So straight to the point, his talents. All right. So his talents, only two of them are useful, which is the skill and the burst. Right. So for the burst, what it actually does is it summons blade like rain swords. Right. So what the rain swords do is whenever your character triggers normal attacks, all right, beware it's only normal attacks. There's actually nothing, no charge attack and nothing else. Only normal attacks. Right. So when you trigger normal attacks, the rain sword will automatically fire 3 and yeah, and then they do damage and apply hydro. So this is how the hydro application actually works. So this is a level 12 like yeah, this is a level 12 elemental burst. So the scaling for rain sword is actually 109. So for every attack you proc 3, so it's like 300 something. Yeah, 327 I think. Yeah. So the cooldown is 20 seconds with a duration of 50 seconds, but at an energy cost of 80, right? So that's the solid reason why like you see everyone using Xingqiu sacrificial sword with R5. I mean they're also exceptional, like Xingqiu using the J cutter or the mid splitter or something. Alright, but overall best in slot for majority players you will see them using sacrificial sword. Right. So sacrificial sword is good and fits Xingqiu perfectly is because it says after damaging an opponent with an elemental skill, the skill has 80% chance to end its own CD. Can only occur once every 16 seconds. So for this weapon, this is currently at R5. Right. For most players, they probably won't have R5. So R3 or R4 already works well, right? I R5 it because, yeah, I have another copy of R5. Alright, back to the point. So that's technically how his elemental burst works. So he just summons rain swords, and if your character deals normal attacks, he will just fire like rain swords to the enemy. Alright. Something like our Hatem's like projectile attack, but this one is more flexible compared to our items. Right. So next is elemental skill. Alright, the actual cracked sub DPS scaling thing, which is close to a 5-star DPS burst scaling. Right. Clearly it's a level 12 elemental skill. Um yeah. So here's a scaling 336 plus 382. There are like two phases, alright. There's also a damage reduction ratio, which is 29% for me. Alright. So how does the damage reduction ratio works is actually so when you use E, alright, as you see these tiny like rain swords around him, yeah, when you get hit by enemy, this thing will help like to reduce some of the damage taken by actually healing your character at the same time. Right. So 20% of Xingqiu's hydro damage bonus will be converted to additional damage reduction for the rain swords. The maximum amount of additional damage reduction that can be gained this way is 24%. The initial maximum number of rain swords is 3. Right. Using this ability also applies the wet status onto a character. So if you are inflicted by cryo, you need to beware after using this skill. You need to keep pressing spacebar or you need to keep pressing a button to break the ice. Right. So that's technically it. So for artifacts, there are actually multiple options. All right. So for me, I'll be running for a piece Emblem of Soviet Fate. All right. So just crit rate. All right. Crit rate, hydro damage bonus, and ER. Right. So ER, no matter at what cost. All right. So energy cycle on the Xingqiu is really really important. And I I planned to give attack percent sense, but I found that I can't cycle my ulti. That's why I know ER. Right. For those who can't farm for Peace Emblem, like as lifeless as I do, or you can just go with 2+2. It's actually simple. It's either 2 Gladiator, 2 Shiminawa, or just 2 Heart of Death. Yeah, 2 Heart of Death here, and or maybe 2 Nobles. Yeah, just anything with like 18% attack or 15% Hydro or 2 piece Nobles. Alright, also works. Right, there's technically for Xingqiu. Next, we have the game, the game's most gay four star, not gay, the game most cracked 4-star. All right. So what this thing actually does is, yeah, Xiangling, right? Looks normal to you, but she is technically buff as hell. Yeah. So what she does is she is an off-field sub DPS. Right, first of all, she is an off-field sub DPS. Next, she applies off-field pyro. Right. So looking into the pyro situation now in the whole game. Right. Let's have a look. So this is all the pyro characters we have. Right. So I mean there are multiple options. Not multiple. There are a few options for pyro off field apply. First of all, we have Dea, right? But the problem of Dea is she applies pyro too slow, right? So technically, she's more like a sub tank support instead of like pyro application support. Toma, or even though Toma like applies a lot of pyro, but the pyro he apply is actually a weaker pyro compared to Xiangling, right? So for elements, they're actually strong side and a weak side. So for example, the Pyro Toma apply is actually the weak side of Pyro, so we call it weak Pyro. But for Xiangling, her Pyro is applied from her burst is actually a strong Pyro. Yeah. So for Toma, yes, he do apply Pyro, but the only issue he have is sometimes he can't get his elemental burst up, and his Pyro application is restricted to a condition. All right, which is say similar to Xingqiu. All right, so you need your active character's normal attacks to be triggered to like produce the pyro application, right? And it only like applies to the front, but not like your surroundings, right? Yoimiya technically she can apply pyro, but single target. Yeah. Yanfei is an on-field DPS. Wuta is an on-field DPS. Xingyan is the forgotten character. Amber is not really good. The Baron Bunny cooldown is too long. Diluc is the rich guy that is an on-field DPS, but he's actually not that good. Clay is just an on-field DPS too, right? Bennett is the support, right? So the only thing we left is actually Xiangling, right? So back to the question, why is Xiangling like recommended to build, right? So first of all, he's bleh, he's black. I mean, her elemental skill have a really like high scaling, right? And next, the Pyronado actually follows your active character even after you swap, right? So as you can see, here's the level 12 Pyronado scaling. So as you can see, 144176, 291, 219, and 224. Right. The duration is 10 seconds and the cooldown is actually 20 seconds. Around 10 seconds of cooldown that comes with an energy cost of 80. Right. So for a lot of people, 10 seconds cooldown is actually longer, but there is actually a way to extend it, which is actually the C4, right? So it says pyronadal duration is increased by 40%. So if you have a C4, technically you just have 6 seconds of downtime, which is actually not too long, right? Plus, this thing applies a ton of like pyro, and if the elemental burst is like on like downtime, you can put a goba to continue apply like off field pyro, right? And the scaling for Goba is actually not too low. It's like 211 for level 11. But he only spits 3 times of fire, so yeah. Right. So for her weapons, I'm running the catch because yeah, I have it, so why not? Plus I don't use a Raiden and don't need a Raiden, so I'll just use Xiangling. Right. So here's my weapon, free to play catch, right? Just fish and don't be a lazy asshole. Just go fishing. Right. If you don't have a catch, like you for real, you're so lazy that you don't want to fish, you can give her the Favonius lens. Yeah. So the Favonius lens gives a ton of ER and crits. Crit hits have like chance of generate particles. Right. Or you can give her the Scout Spine, or maybe engulfing, or any ER weapon also works. Alright. If you don't have an ER weapon, alright, just give her the EM weapon like Kitten Crossbear or the Moon Piercer. Right. Or if you don't have a near weapon, just give her attack weapon, like Wavebreaker, Missile Wind Spear, or maybe Dragon Spade, or whatever works. Just make sure you actually keep your ER up to not make sure it doesn't go too low. So for her artifacts, I recommend, highly recommend. Only solution, I don't care. Okay, 4-piece emblem. Right. So crit rate. Alright, crit rate circlet with para damage bonus and ER sense. Alright, ER sense. Don't give me bullshit and put attack. Alright, unless you want to die with no ER. Okay. Emblem feather and emblem flower. Yeah. So the benefits of 4-piece emblem is actually when stacking ER for Xiangling, which she actually needs. Alright, the energy recharge also like converts into the bonus damage for her elemental burst, right? So which is actually really good for her own kit at the same time, since all the damage output is actually focused on the elemental burst, right? So up to the next character, she's also a 4-star. All right, So it's an electro support. All right. I mean, there are multiple electro supports. Like there's Sarah, there's Fischl, there's like Cookie. Okay, there's Dory. But out of all like electro supports, I would like to recommend Cookie. All right. So Kuki Shinobu, she is a 4-star unit, electro sword builder. All right. She is actually for my position of her in my team, she is more like an a healer, mid healer with some like hyper bloom procker, which is like electro applier of you, right? So for her, what how there are actually like two methods of using her. One of it is like building her as a tank or a DPS. Alright, technically building her tank is building her DPS. Alright, another way is you build her EM and put her in danger related teams like Hyper Bloom. Right. So the thing that gives her the most value is actually the elemental skill. Right. You can technically just like ignore the sword and ignore the burst. Alright. The only thing you need to care about is the elemental skill. So what does the elemental skill do is actually like it produces a ring around her. I mean around the character, and it's also like it can be passed through characters, which means it's technically off field. Right. So you create a ring, alright, and the ring will heal you according to Cookie's max HP. And also it skills a bit on EM if you have the level 60 ascended talent. Alright. So it will allow you to heal based on Cookie's max HP, and the most important part is it will actually like deals electro damage, which is like technically just proc electro damage. Yeah, every like 1.5 seconds. But the activation cost comes with 30% current HP, so you might need to like be aware about this. Like, don't just let her on field and like you press the E and then you die. Yeah. So the duration is actually 12 seconds, and the cooldown is 15 seconds. There's 3 second downtime, but it can be solved if you have a C2 key, right? Like increase the ring's duration by 3 seconds. Yeah, so technically means that you kind of bypass it, right? So after speaking on that, when we come to weapons, so as I said, there are actually multiple ways of building her, right? So first is the tank build. Okay, I don't have the key of Kashinsu, but you can actually put it on her. Alright, key of Kashinsu actually works well on her. Right, or if you don't have it, you can also use Primordial Cutter. The weapon passive uses HP%. Yeah, why not? Right. So if you are building Hyper Bloom Cookie, or you are building like a kind of reaction trigger cookie, right? You can use Freedom Sword. Alright, or you can use Umbrella, or you can use Cypher's Moonlight, or you can use Instinct. Just technically any EM weapon will do, right? So for other weapons, I'm not really that recommended. Right, the worst comes to worst, you can give her an ER weapon, right? So for artifacts, there's only one choice for me, right? Or there are actually multiple choice. Right, first of all, if you are building the reaction trigger cookie, you can use 4 piece flowers of paradise lost. All right. So what this thing do is actually increase your bloom, hyper bloom, and virgin reaction damage. All right, and repeatedly triggering the same reaction, you'll get like 25% bonus if of the effect mentioned in the prior max 4 stacks simultaneously. All right, and it can also still be triggered even the character is not on the field. And the 2 piece also increases EM by 80. So for Cookie, it's like the perfect artifact set for Hyper Bloom. Right. So stacking EM on her, so as you can see, triple EM, and nothing much on the flower and feather. Yeah. So that's actually pretty easy and simple to build. For those people who are building tank cookie, alright, you can wait. You can actually give her 2 piece tenacity of the middle leaf with 2 piece for Rokasha's glow. Right. So HP and HP 20% with 20%. Then you get 40% HP. Right. So after speaking about Cookie, I have covered up most of the like useful and broken supports in the game. Right. So there is still one more support, which is actually like Sucrose. Right. So if you don't have a Kazuha, you don't have a Venti, you don't have a Jean, right? Then Sucrose is probably your best choice if you want to like gather up mobs and also buff reaction related um like damages and also EMs, right? So Sucrose is good due to the fact that she can gather up mobs using her elemental burst and the elemental skill, alright. And she can also buff like her own teammates, like elemental mastery. Alright. So yeah, yeah. So she's actually not too complicated to understand. Alright. So technically, you can assume that her kit, which is the skill and the burst, gather up mobs, right? And her level 60 ascendant talent just increase the EM for the whole team when the skill and burst hits an opponent, right? By 20% of Sucro's own elemental mastery for 8 seconds, right? So it's actually not too hard to understand. Simple kit. Yeah. So the elemental burst will continuously like suck the enemy like towards it. Alright, but you'll also like knock up at the same time, and the gather effect isn't as good as Venti and Kazuha or Jin. But if you don't have those three characters I mentioned, this is probably your best option, like because you have no choice. Right. So energy cost is 80. That comes with a 14-second cooldown. But the elemental skill can patch up to like to the to the downtime of your elementals burst, right? So for weapons, I suggest sacrificial fragments, which adds EM. Yeah. So this weapon is good because if you damage an opponent with your elemental skill, your skill technically can gain another charge, right? Which is really good for Sucrose, as by default she only have one charge. Having a sacrificial fragment technically just means that you have two charges for her, right? Besides, her Constellation 1 gives you another charge. So if you have a sacrificial fragments on her, like with C1, you technically have like three charges of elemental skill, which kind of like instantly charges back up your elemental burst. Right, for artifacts, this is actually a mix and match tear up. It's actually not the initial Sucrose I actually have the artifact on. So you're actually supposed to give double EM and one ER. Right. So I wonder where did my elemental mastery, yeah, my circle go. So whatever it is gives elemental mastery for circular goblet, but for sense give ER because her energy requirement is quite high, 80. Right. So feather and flower, I will give iridescent venom. So this like matches up to 4 piece. Right. So this is like the best set for sucrose. Right. So constellations I am lazy to explain, but all of them are actually good. Right. All right. So after sucrose, all right, we have my last support on the list, which is actually Diano. All right. Diano is actually good. All right. It's because she she can do two important things that characters actually need. She can provide shield. She can provide heal. That's simple. Right? That's simple. She can provide heal. She can provide shield. That's technically it. Simple as that. Right? So for shield, here it is. So like pressing or holding the skill, like decides how long and how strong your shield wants to be. Right? So the base shield damage absorption is 13.7% max HP plus 1646 for level 11 talent. Right. So the duration is 2.4 seconds per paw. All right. So you by tapping you fire off two paws, means you technically gain like close to 5 seconds of the shield. But if you hold, you get like yeah, almost like how much is it? Yeah, almost like 12 seconds or like a bit more if I'm not wrong. Right. So press and hold have different cooldowns. For press it will be 6, for hold it will be 15. Right. So the shield also have like an extra 250% crit damage absorption bonus. But even though without this, alright, so her shield is actually technically really strong. 13.7% max HP for level 11. Right, I'll just make a comparison with Zhongli. Alright, this is Zhongli's shield absorption at level 10. Alright. Level 10, Zhongli is a 5 star, alright. He have 33% max HP. And Diona is just a 4 star. Alright. She's just a 4 star, and at level 11 she have like 13.7%. Right. Okay. Her signature mix the burst. Alright. The burst creates a field that generates like um AoE cryo over time. Right. So the field damage is actually not high, but the important point of this thing is the HP regeneration, which is actually really high. This is just a level 8 talent, so the HP regeneration over time is like 8.54% max HP. So if you stack HP on Diona, technically they are like benefiting from her with like the shield and the heal. Right. So duration is actually 12 seconds with 8 seconds downtime. Uh and comes with energy cost of 80. Right. So the energy cost isn't really a big thing because like you can generate a ton of particles from her elemental skill, and you can either run an ER weapon like Favonius War Bow or Sacrificial Bow on her. Right. Or if you have enough ER, you can even do something better. You can give her the 3 star weapon, the Recurve Bow, which actually gives HP. Right. For her artifacts, there are multiple choices. Alright. So first of all, if you are going for 4 piece, alright, for 4 piece, there is only one option I would like to recommend, which is the Noblesse Oblige. Right. So Noblesse Oblige increases the like when you cast elemental burst, your whole team increases attack by 20% for 12 seconds. So Diona's ulti is actually 12 seconds, so it perfectly fits her to the teammate. Right. So if you don't have a 4 piece or you can't force yourself for the 4 piece, right? So the only option left is 2+2, which is technically like tenacity plus the for Rukasha's glow, right? So 20% HP plus 20% HP. Or you can go for 4 piece maiden, which is actually a solution. Yeah, where's my maiden? Oh yeah. So here it is, maiden. So it increases the character's healing effectiveness by 15%. And when using elemental skill or burst, it increases the healing received by all party members by 20% for 10 seconds. This means that giving this, you can technically like fix her healing a bit if you're going for full HP Diona. Right. So that's technically it for my video today. Alright. So in short conclusion, alright, the characters I recommend you to build, alright, to make you easier in your Genshin life is Bennett, Xiangling, Xingqiu, Kuki, Diona, and Sucrose. Alright, of course, if you have 5 stars, you probably don't care about it already. But remember that like in this game, most of the reactions and carries are actually from 4 stars, right? I mean, for whales it might be different, alright, but still 4 stars are still a crucial and important part of this game, right? You can't really play a lot much if you actually don't have all these like units to support your character. Like for example, animal will be technically useless if you don't have any other elements to support. like them. All right, and Dendro will be technically useless if they don't have the like they don't have pyro, hydro, or electro supporting them. So it's more there's no examples like one element dominance. I mean there is, but the costs are normally very high. So by building 4 stars, besides like having a high cost like in this game building like most of the 5 star characters, you technically save a lot of time and you also save a lot of effort just trying to struggle through levels and clearing stuff. So these are technically my words, right? So I actually hope that this video helped you. Alright, so this is still a long video, and thank you to whoever watched all the way here. Right. Thank you for watching this close to 40-minute video. Right. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.